Hi, this is Ricky Sun. I'm a Pi consultant. In this video, I'm going to talk about when you accidentally delete your Pi tags and with good intention, and suddenly you're losing a large chunk of data from that Pi tag. It could be multiple tags, right? It just maybe you didn't pay attention and you just press the delete button and you didn't know until you realize this has been deleted, and you may be having a long day and then just forgot, right, and lose focus, right? You forgot to pay attention, and then you have a long list to do, and then just that moment you delete your Pi tag in your Pi server. Then you will in a panic attack, right? Because you have to do more, because you have to restore the data from somewhere, right? And this is the video for that, to help you recover your data, right? And now the data is gone, right? You create the new Pi tags in the server, and that Pi tag, although it has the same name, the tag name will be the same, but it doesn't have data. It has a point create in there. So you'll be like, oh my god, how do I get the data back? Like you freeze a moment, right? Like, I don't know if you have experienced that as a Pi administrator, and maybe like you were using Excel and then you are creating tags, right? And then you rename tags and you just forgot delete, right? And then like which like with good intention, right? Not with bad intention. So this is the video for helping that. So what do we do with this situation? And I can summarize that with 3 ways you can recover your data. The first way is to, if you have a backup. If you don't have a backup, then you cannot do this method, but normally you have a daily backup, right? So if you have a backup, then you can restore the Pi server onto a new machine, right? You may need to contact Afiva to give you a temporary license so that you can restore that Pi server onto another machine. And then you can configure Pi to Pi, because the data is there and the tag is there. You just configure Pi to Pi tags, send it back to where your production Pi server is. Then it should be quick if it is only a few tags, but like if you delete a lot of tags, then it will be slower. But that way you can recover the most data, right? When you recover them from the backup. But you may be saying like, oh, that's a lot of work, man. Like I delete the tag accidentally, I have to restore a Pi server. This is like abnormal, right? Like you oh my god, like you have to like do that many things. Yes, like for me it's like pretty normal. I could restore the Pi server pretty quickly, but I don't know, like there's videos on that, right? Like out there on restore Pi servers, right? So you could look at those, and I can attach a link on the comment or in my description below. But that's the way I would get the data back quickly if there's no other source to get the data back. So the second method you can use is, if the data is from OPC HDA, right, which is kind of like a historian that retain like a years of data, or the data is in a database, right? Then you can, if it is on OPC HDA, then you can use PyInterface or OPC HDA to recover and backfill the data, right? If the data is in the database, then you can use PyInterface for RDBMS to backfill the data, right? That's simple. Then you just have to configure the interface and create the text. You don't have to do that recovery of the Pi server in another machine, which you think might be a lot of work. But like when you first create your architecture, that may be the things that you might need to plan in advance, right? Like if this scenario happened, then you have kind of a procedure to follow. Like you will expect, okay, I'm gonna restore Pi server to recover the data, or oh, I'm gonna go to OPC HDA to get the data if I accidentally delete. Like things happen, right? Like so, everyone could make that mistake. Like Pi administrator, right? Like here we're human, right? Not machine. Machine may not make mistake, right? Like you just give it instruction all the time, it will do the same thing. But human could make the mistake, so you have to account for that. So third way, if you delete your tag accidentally, the data actually is still in the archive, in the Pi server archive. It's just the pointer, like the Pi tag, when you create the Pi tag, that Pi tag have a pointer to the data archive of the stream, right? So if you delete the tag, that pointer got deleted, but the data is still in the archive. So the third way you could recover the data, recover the most data, I should say, because I'm going to explain that a little bit more, but you could recover if you follow this procedure, which is you are using the point ID of the previous, and then record ID, right? Record ID and point ID of what you have created previously, and map it back to your current created tags. Point ID. So you are going to do conversion files, reprocess archive, right? Using offline reprocessing tool utility to reprocess all your archive. And I don't really like these options because there are a few cons for that, like disadvantage of recovering it this way. First is you cannot recover the primary archive data. So you could only recover your secondary and third and fourth archive data when you reprocess. And the primary archive data is gone. It depends on how frequent you shift your data, then it'll be kind of like lost for maybe a day or a week, right? It really depends on how frequent your archive shift is going to be. So that's the con. Like one con is like it cannot recover primary archive data. The second problem, I think personally, is I have to reprocess a lot of archive. Like normally I got 100 or thousands of archive, right? Then I have to create a script, I have to reprocess archive, and it's not short time, right? Like reprocess archive takes time. So that just for we cover that one tag of data, reprocessing thousands of archive is like crazy. So a lot of procedures to follow, right? If you mess up, then you have to verify your data, right? When you reprocess your archive, load it back and check if the data is there back, right? Then you can continue for the rest of the archive. So I don't really like to run into this option because just because of the two disadvantage I just mentioned. But in the past, like, I have tried many times, and I could do that free, right? You just try for all free. But in general, deleting tags, you should be really careful not to, take it very serious, right? When you delete tag, make sure you do the backup first, and then the worst case is to restore from backup. Then you won't get scolded from your managers or from your boss, right? And then you may recover the data silently, and then they may not even notice, right? But that is going to be a lot of work. So when you delete tags, make sure it's like you're very careful on that. So that's all. That's kind of the things that I want to summarize. We just talked about 3 ways of recovering the deleted tags data, and so that you can recover the data silently if you don't want your manager to know, right? So but yeah, I think I mentioned also in another video, you could rename your tags to another point source and decommission it by putting it in a grace period, not to delete tags. So you could do that also, but please review the other video. And thank you very much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. I'll see you next week. Bye.